continue working in some way. So that's what I will be doing. I will be doing a little bit with Family Promise, which is our parent organization. So I'll be traveling around and working with organizations like this. Interfaith Hospitality Network was really started by people just like you, people like you in this room. It was started in 1986 by a woman who probably didn't even, well, I know she didn't know about homelessness as much as you do. Karen Olson, she was our founder. And what Karen did was she lived in New Jersey and she worked over in New York City, and she used to take the train over the station, and with her briefcase she'd walk a couple of blocks to her nice office, and she'd see homeless people, just like you see homeless people in downtown Cincinnati today, or in downtown anywhere USA today. So she would think, well, that's pretty bad. And she went back and she talked to her two sons. She was a single mom, and they started a sandwich ministry. And she would carry on one hand, one shoulder, her briefcase on the other shoulder. She would carry her tote bag full of sandwiches that she and her sons had made the night before, and hand them out as she walked down the street. One day a woman reached out and touched her hand and said, "Won't you stop and talk with me for a little while?" And that really surprised her. It surprised her not because the woman did that, but because she had never taken the time to stop and talk to the homeless people she felt so sorry for. So in doing so, she found out so much about homelessness, including, not unlike any other city, that the shelters were always full, and that there were homeless families actually living on the streets of New York, and they had no place to go. So Karen had this aha moment, or since we were in a church, a divine inspiration, if you will. She went back to her pastor and said, there are homeless families, and there's not enough space for them in the family shelters. So why don't we figure out a way where we can take these homeless families into our place of worship, now defined as religious assembly by the Cincinnati Planning Department. And why can't we do what was permitted then, and hopefully will continue to be permitted in Cincinnati? Let's recruit some other congregations so that we can rotate this. We'll do it for a week at a time. During the day, through our help, we'll get them out to the many social service agencies that they need to access in order to get the resources they need to get back on their feet. And her pastor said, Karen, that's a great idea. So in '86 they started that. Karen was just so passionate about this ministry that she went on to recruit other towns and cities around the area, so that by 1988, the National Interfaith Hospitality Network, now known as Family Promise, started. In 1991, people in Cincinnati had heard about it, and there was a woman who I think was, from all I've heard from the founding people who are still around in 1991, this woman's name still is, although she's passed now, Donna Corrington. And Donna was at St. Paul United Methodist Church. And she's like it. Every congregation has one of these, every single one that I've ever been in. And because I've been in this job for 8 years, I've been in a lot of them. There's a woman of some years. She appears to be perhaps small and frail, but she's indomitable. And her passion and her energy exceeds people a fraction of her age. And when she gets onto something, she's not going to take no for an answer. And Donna was like that. So Donna worked with Joan Kempton from another Methodist church, with the Lubins from Church of the Redeemer, and some other, Wise Temple. Rabbi Cameras was a very, very young rabbi at that time, and they started the Interfaith Hospitality Network with 8 churches. And basically the way it works, as you know, is the churches and synagogues, and now we have a mosque, provide the shelter at night, and they provide all the meals, and they provide the hospitality, and just the good company that families provide to families. in a nutshell how it works with your congregation. You can tell me more about how it works at this particular congregation, but it varies from site to site. Back at the day center, and the families are transported back and forth between a day center and the shelter, the families access shelter case management, which exists to help the families put together the resources and the plan they need to get back on their feet as much as anybody can in this economy today, and to hopefully obtain and retain stable housing. Basically, that's the way it works. We've tweaked it some, and we've also joined whoever else is working to end this epidemic of homelessness, this abomination in supposedly the richest nation on earth. And we're putting a Band-Aid on the problem. You have to put a Band-Aid on the problem because people are the manifestation of that problem, and if you don't help them where you find them, very, very bad things can happen. We're talking about children. Last year we served 112 families. Out of those, there were 372 people. Well over, about 2/3 were children. And about half of those children, I think 139 or something like that, were children aged 5 and younger. Because we've teamed up with so many people, we have a great program in a collaboration with the UC College of Medicine. Our program is called Homeless Children Thrive and Grow. We work with 3 docs, and one of them is a pediatrician who's a developmental specialist. She's a neurodevelopmental specialist. And in her assessment of the children that she's seen over the past several years, about 50% of those children aged 0 to 3 have had developmental delays. 50%. And that's because they're just not living a healthy lifestyle. Fortunately, the vast majority of those are through